Okay, it's Brainwash with Dr. Tom and Guitar Picks with Cyril Lance today. Cyril, can you tell me how you came up with your list?
Painfully. to narrow it down to 20 people was tough, but you know, I've had so many different kind of influences in my life that I started thinking about it, and I kind of thought about it in a historical perspective, and kind of what brought me to where I am today, and what were the kind of albums that were kind of seminal to me. And then I actually thought, well, I had to exclude things, so I started really excluding whole genres of music. So, like, I thought, well, maybe I'll stick with mainly guitar players, because even though actually I listen to more other types of musicians, I more often will listen to a horn player or a piano player or a B3 player rather than a guitar player. But I just thought, well, it may make more sense for people to hear mostly guitar players, since I am primarily known as a guitar player.
Okay, on to the list. Muddy Waters, 19 years old.
Yeah, Muddy Waters. Well, he kind of started me off with this whole thing. I'm primarily known as a blues musician here in this area, and I grew up in Honolulu.
Oh yeah.
Hawaii, and I was kind of a loner as a kid and didn't have much influence. You know, I wasn't getting a lot of music, and there weren't a lot of people coming through town. I just one day, my brother, who was out of the house at the time, must have left the radio on, college radio, and I turned it on, and Muddy Mississippi Waters Live came on, and that's the pick we'll listen to, is one of his songs, 19 Years Old. And I mean, that just changed me forever, hearing Muddy Waters, and I didn't even know anything about blues history, and you know, Hawaii is far off the beaten track.
Can you give us a little bit of this, either Muddy Waters in general or the 19 Years Old, a riff or a lick or something?
Well, the thing that most people know about Muddy, you know, that, and the first thing I heard was they played I'm a Man, you know. When I was a young boy, about the age of 5. I mean, everybody knows that. And that's what came on the radio, and his voice just took me. And actually, what's also important about this album was that's the album I learned to play guitar to. I didn't have any teachers or wasn't playing with anybody. And also, I never learned any licks. I never learned any of the stuff, but I would just listen and I'd do my little picking, you know. That kind of stuff, and I just picked along, and that was really the first album I learned to play guitar to. Okay.
Speaking of guitars, tell us about what the one you just played.
Well, this is an old National Steel. It's an old Resophonic guitar, and it's got that great, you know. That great old bluesy sound.
Yeah.
You know. So Muddy Waters was really like one of my first real albums I ever bought. In fact, I think it was. I had bought a Danny Kaye album when I was a kid, but I tried to find that actually. I thought that'd be a fun way to start off the show. This is Danny Kaye musical I saw when I was a kid. That was my first album. I think Muddy Waters was the second album I bought.